There are a lot of really interesting facts about this house, but one that I think a lot of people really get a kick out of is Lone Wolf Gonzalez stayed here whenever the Texas Rangers had to come to town to kind of regulate and put some law into this lawlessness town. Because when the boom hit, thousands of people descended upon Kilgore, and the infrastructure just was not in place to handle that sort of population. One of the oldest homes in Kilgore, not the oldest, but one of the oldest homes in Kilgore. And the Crim family is who owned the property that the Lou Della Crim well was whenever it was struck in 1930. Kilgore mayor and local financier was Malcolm Crim. And Malcolm Crim believed, through all of the oil companies that said there was no oil here, Malcolm Crim truly believed that there was. And he would beg, he would plead, he would ask any geologist or oil field engineer to come to Kilgore. And funny story is in 1920, I believe it was Shell Oil, they drilled a hole here, and it was a dry hole, and they missed the field by like about 200 yards. So in 1920, the East Texas oil field could have been discovered, but it wasn't until 1930. And Malcolm Crim was, he was the leader, if you will, of actually having oil exploration here in Kilgore. Well, his family owned a lot of property, and one of the properties was a pig farm just south of town. I guess it would be Laird Hill. And that's where the Lou Della Crim well came in. And then from that point, Kilgore became a boom town, and up until I think it was probably in the 1960s, maybe even 50s, whenever there was a Middle East oil field, the East Texas oil field was the largest in the world. So a lot of history comes from Kilgore, and one of the historic sites, obviously I'm standing in front of it, is the Lou Della Crim home. And at the beginning of this year, the Kilgore Historical Preservation Foundation became legal owners of the home. It was donated to us by Bobby Florence. And so now we are on a quest to raise a lot of money. The home needs a lot of work, but we've had a contractor come in, and believe it or not, the bones are still pretty good. So there's no reason to demo the home. And so we are actually about to go public with our having the house, in hopes that we can stimulate some local and public interest, because we will have to have an aggressive fundraising campaign to get this home open to the public. The long-term goal would be to turn it into a museum. Kilgore Historical Preservation Foundation, we have thousands of photographs, of historic photographs from even before the boom, whenever Kilgore was a cotton farm town and a railroad stop. So we've got thousands of photos, and the idea would be to turn those photos, blow them up, put them in frames, and display them through the Lou Della Crim home. It's a large house. I think it's about 4,000 square feet. So in a lot of different rooms that we could designate and give themes to, or if someone would like to actually sponsor a room, we can name the room after you, and we can put all the photos that match the theme to whomever that family is in that particular room. So the idea would be to turn it into a museum, a historic museum. Lou Della lived in the backyard while the house was being built. She lived in what would probably be an efficiency apartment in New York City, probably like about a 600, 800 square foot little abode, if you will, while the home was being built. And another really cool story was Lone Wolf Gonzalez stayed here, and Lone Wolf Gonzalez was that probably the most famous Texas Ranger in the history of the Texas Rangers, because when the boom hit, they had to bring in the Texas Rangers. They actually had to bring in the National Guard and enact martial law because of hot oil, amongst other nefarious elements that happen whenever a boomtown comes to light, especially whenever population of Kilgore was about 800 people before the boom, and then it ballooned to about 12,000 in the matter of months. And so the streets weren't paved. There was no real infrastructure for a small town like Kilgore to handle that population influx. We're proud. You know, what's in our name, Kilgore Historical Preservation Foundation. We are extremely happy. We are coming off very positive energy. Another home that we had an open house for back in May was the Dean Keener Crim home. You see a theme there, Crim name. The Dean Keener Crim home, which is less than a mile from here on the other side of the railroad tracks. It is now open to the public as well. The open house we had for the Dean Keener Crim home was extremely well received. And so we thought as a board it'd be good to announce to the public that we have the Lou Della Crim home coming off the energy of having the open house, the Dean Keener Crim home. And it's confusing. Dean Keener Crim, Lou Della Crim, so we call it White House and Yellow House is how we know which one we're talking about. So yeah, what we would like to do with the Dean Keener Crim home would be to turn it into more of a event center, showers, receptions of the like, where, like I said earlier, the Lou Della Crim home, the Yellow House, will be the Kilgore History Museum, or maybe hopefully a better name than that, but we'll see. I'm not really good at naming things. khpf.org is our website. Go to our website and we actually have all of our different elements that we are in charge of. So the World's Richest Acre, which is all of our replica derricks, the Dean Keener Crim home, and the Lou Della Crim home. You can earmark which one of those you want to donate to. And like I said, all of them need public support. We are a nonprofit, 501c3, so we are tax deductible, so your donation can be a write-off for you. So keep that in mind whenever you're visiting with your accountant. And yeah, reach out to us on the website. There's a way that you can contact us via email. And not really sure we're ready to give tours of this home yet. We need to do some infrastructure work and some just basic floor and ceiling work before we are comfortable giving tours. But happily we'll show you the Dean Keener Crim home, and we'll happily show you our plans for this house and let you see what our budget is. So we're excited. I think if anything, I feel also the neighbors here, as well as Jack Ryan's restaurant, and even the immediate downtown will benefit from us making this house open to the public and a cornerstone of not just Kilgore, but Kilgore's history.